All right, good evening. It's June 10th, 2026, and I will call the special meeting of the Groton Board of Education to order. In person tonight, so far, we have Mike Whitney, Mitch Shimbra, and myself, Adrian Johnson. Online, we have Ian Thomas, Jay Whiteloff, Andrea Ackerman, Sean, and I think that's it. Sean Corcoran, sorry, I didn't say your last name. The first order of business is discussion and possible action. Already the fiscal year 27 Office of Early Childhood Smart Start funds for Mary Morrison Early Childhood Center. So, you know,
so
you want to talk?
We were very pleased that we had asked for additional funds to support the Mary Morrison project. And I had mentioned to you early on, we ended up getting the construction part of the grant, which was $600,000. We were expecting to get $600,000 for operations. And the operations had not come in, but now they're verified and they will be coming. And now the operation funds for 10 classrooms is in the amount of $975,000 to take care of the needs of Mary Morrison and the new upstart for the Early Childhood Center. In addition, Shannon put in for capital improvement funds for the 2 additional classrooms in the amount of $150,000. So I'm going to let her take this on and talk to you. She's been a wonderful project manager as well as grants writer, making sure we're all in sync and keeping on task and helping us manage the Mary Morrison. I can't say enough to thank her and Sam and his team, Tom and the whole crew, Lauren. So much appreciated. And it's getting along pretty well. And Sam says he'll even clean it up a little bit if people want to take a visit so that you won't be waxing the floors when we take you there or be painting the walls. So we'll have to find a time when that can happen. And John Burt has asked also that we have town councilors who might be interested come on that walk. So we'll have to find a time when we got it in shape enough so that we're not going into a construction zone and getting in the way of things. So we will work on that. But anyway, Shannon, you can take it away. We thank you.
Thank you, Susan. I'd say it's really been a labor of love, this project over at Mary Morrison, and I think there's been multiple project managers, people who have come above and beyond their usual responsibilities in bringing this project into fruition. Like Susan said, we were awarded the companion grant to the capital improvement grant that we received back in January. So we now have the operational funds for the initial 8 classrooms that we had applied for. And over the past 6 months, the Office of Early Childhood had gone back to their original funding amount, which was a higher amount. So we ended up receiving $780,000 for those 8 classrooms. And then we had put in the application, like I had mentioned, that the grants update back on May 11th. For the 2 additional classrooms because we had such a interest in the program from the community. And that was awarded also, and that came along with additional capital improvement funds. So fortunately, these funds have arrived much sooner than the original grant, which did not arrive until January, which made for an incredibly tight timeline. And it's just been really amazing to see everybody in the district come together to make this project happen because it was a very tight timeline. So it's great that these funds have arrived sooner. So we got an official notification by email last week, and hopefully it won't be too long before they're in GMS. The OEC is requesting that the chair of the board sent a letter for the chair to sign the board to accept these funds, and we will also have to have the mayor sign to just acknowledgement that we are going to be accepting these funds. So, yeah, are there any questions regarding the grant or?
Yeah, so
project?
if you can kind of go back, I'm kind of confused as the total number. So we were originally going to get 600 and 600, correct?
Right. Yeah.
And then we voted to, so it was 600 for capital improvement.
Yep.
And then it was gonna be 600 for staff.
For operating.
Yeah, so then the capital improvement was increased to 780. Is that correct?
No, the operational grant
All
was increased to 780. Yep, and then the second grant that we had submitted back in May, which the board was aware of, that was approved also.
For just the two classrooms.
Two additional, yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
the 600 became 975 and the
Yeah.
600 construction became 750.
right, so what is 780 divided by the 97,580 per classroom or so? So that's what it increased to, where I think it was 75,000 maybe in the past.
Mhm.
So the new grant for operations is at 97.5 per classroom for operations also. So those two combined at the 780 brings it up to the 975, I believe. And then, but the amount per classroom for capital improvements stayed at 75K. So that's why that's only for 150,000.
But we were really concerned, would we be able to, with that tight timeline, be able to spend 600,000? And I want you to know that my team knows how to do that in a short timeline.
And we really stretched those funds too, and we were able to address all the kind of emergency issues. And then also able to buy, some nice new equipment for the teachers and some to enhance the playground. So it's being painted at the moment. A lot of the, SAM facilities have been using it as a storage facility for many years. So that equipment was items were removed and the rooms are being cleaned up and prepped for the fall.
So really, we tried to recycle as much as we could. We had partners, neighbors, and other schools and principals come in to see. And then if it was obsolete, I think there's a few drums over there from Cutler and West Side, so I'm not sure how obsolete, but everything else that was obsolete was taken out.
Yep, the Navy sub base came by their early childhood center and we donated some items to them. We also donated to Habitat for Humanity. Sacred Market was interested at one time, but they changed their mind. So we donated where we could, and then the rest of the items were Habitat.
All right, so it's 10 total classrooms. How many additional staff are we hiring to what we're have this year? Because I know some of the teachers are just moving, but then we're hiring a few additional positions. So how many additional positions is it to be in total?
Yeah, so we're hiring 3 additional teachers, or I believe that's right. And then support staff also. 6 positions. We're hiring 1.0 play-based coach, team coach. A 1.0 social worker. 1.0 secretary. 1.0 nurse. 1.0 activity help aid. And study. And teacher leader at 26.
I know there's going to be another presentation on Mary Morrison Monday night as well. And so we can kind of chart this out for you. People will often ask about what the sustainability plan is. And for now, all expenses are covered with this OEC grant. Into the future, because it is an endowment fund, we will continue to go for these grants and be part of this partnership. If something happens that we don't get a second year or a third year, then we might have to do what Learn does and all other preschools do, which is to charge parents on a sliding scale to be able to attend, and that will cover these costs. So, and then the other hope is that we have less kids crossing the bridge to get to the other side for these early childhood programs, and that we are able to service our own kids. Not all of them. I mean, there'll always be kids who want to go to the interdistrict madness and learn, but there is some efficiency in doing this and keeping our kids over here.
Yeah.
For Monday,
social worker, 0.6. They're such a valuable part of the community. That's why 1.6 and not 1 for Monday, not for tonight.
So it's one for, I'm sorry, which position are you referring to?
Yeah, it said 0.6 social worker.
But that's a point.
Then what was the 0.6?
The teacher leader and the speech pathologist.
Oh, speech pathologist. Okay. And because there was a speech pathologist at Charles Barnum who was at 1, whose workload was double with 1, from my understanding. So can you just like can we explain why that's happening?
So Charles Barnum has 1.6 FTE speech paths. And Mary Morrison will have 1.6 FTE speech.
So one will be coming from the school that they had been at, and she'll just transfer over. So they had been at Mystic River, and she'll be coming over in addition to the 6.6.
And what's going to be left at Mary Mystic River?
You'll have 2.6 left.
And that's sufficient for the population that's there with all this stuff.
Yes, and the 1.0 that Susan just described that's moving from Mystic River to Mary Morrison probably won't be full time at Mary Morrison to start the year because the special ed students we've identified throughout the year. So she'll have some time to go over and still service students at Mystic River.
Okay.
So yeah, it's phased in kind of.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's just difficult for teachers whatever position it is to go from school to school like they're living off of a little bag. So I know it's cost efficient for the school district, but it's something that we need to look at for the well-being of our general, about people.
So we try not to have them travel during the day. We try to have them do like 2 days at one school 1 week and 3 days the next week. So they kind of have, 2
They stay in
days
place
at
today.
Mary Morrison, 3 days at Mystic, and then the following week go to the opposite. 3 days at Mystic, 2 days at Mary Morrison.
Okay.
And we're right now going through a real rigorous process, working with principal and Denise and the staff, looking at caseloads, hours, number of staff, number of paraeducators. Those meetings are usually a couple hours long, even though they come with their homework done. And we're really keeping an eagle eye on just what you're talking about, Jen, because it is important at the start of the year to make sure we've got sufficient staff. And we know boats come in and out, people move in and out, so it's juggling a little bit, but we do keep track of it even through the year.
Mitch?
So I was trying to catch the numbers as you were reading them off. Sounds to me like we got more money than we had expected. Okay, which is a good thing. So for all positions, is that gonna cover all the positions that you need as well as the physical work in the building?
Yes, it will actually help us with extra furniture because we have not been able to bring all of the furniture from Mystic River over to Mary Morrison because some of those classrooms will be used for kindergarten and first grade. And same with our TK classrooms, there's one at Thames and one at VA. Those classrooms will become kindergarten classrooms. So what we were able to use the funds to purchase additional classroom furniture. We're also using the funds to, as Shannon said, enhance the playground. We're adding a really nice ramp that will help some of our students with disabilities access the playground because there's kind of a steep incline to get down to the playground. And we're having to purchase furniture for the nurse's office, the teacher desk, the secretary. So it's really helping us make sure we have everything we need to outfit all of the rooms, all of the staff members, having an adequate workspace.
I have to
start
say,
the year.
the preschool teachers are so excited. And from the very beginning, they've been helping with this project, giving us information. We've been working side by side with them. And they actually came into the building early on and put hot pink tags on furniture that's perfectly good furniture. Sometimes the way they made it in the day, hold up even stronger than today. So they had already gone through and found puppies and different things that, you know, with a little touch of paint, will look like new and will hold up. So they did a great job. So a lot some has been recycled, but it will look lovely when it goes in.
So the original 600,000 capital improvement grant, I mean, that went towards the windows and doors, technology, development towards technology.
And
building
safety
is
security.
equipped with security cameras, Wi-Fi access. Painting, Sam's crew has been working super hard, you know, doing a lot of the repairs themselves, like all the supplies for that, HVAC, they all have air conditioning units, they did a lot of work on the roof, with the sort of general ventilation system.
Okay, so the bottom line is we originally asked for the amount of money A. We got A plus delta A.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
That's it.
And engineering.
Yeah, love it. Talking my language.
Okay, and it's enough to cover everything for one school year, or as it stands. I think that's all I really need.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'll just chime in that, that these are the actual dollars savings, but, there is a huge potential for savings down the line because we're doing a better job with early childhood education, that we're going to need, less services and we're going to have better student outcomes. So, so in addition to this being kind of a wash, as far as, you know, the town's budget is not going to cost the taxpayer any more money. It's going to have huge impact on our students in time. So which is the whole reason.
And our families couldn't be more excited. I tell you, when we looked at the numbers, we were afraid we wouldn't have enough students. And the way it's turning out, there might even be a small wait list, but we're gonna look for every opportunity to get every student somewhere. So very exciting, and there's just a buzz, and we're gonna be doing a video and getting information out. I think Rebecca talked about a communication plan, and then bring families together, hopefully over the summer for a little, you know, get to know you.
Just a second. Can you click this here to get rid of that? Oh, all right. I just because I might not be able to see.
Yeah.
People online. Yeah, Jen.
Oh, this is not, it's just a compliment to Sharon for always being able to identify grants. We said everybody in consistently, but I'm not it's very foundational setting and a big help to our community and the school system. So we thank you.
Yeah, I'll second that. Thank you, Shannon. I think this whole thing we wouldn't be anywhere near this. So that's great.
I agree.
Any other questions or comments? All right. So does anyone want to read that first motion?
Yes, wondering, and whoever reads it, can we just combine it? Is that,
Are they two separate?
it's two separate funds? Oh, I know, but like just one motion. Well, if it's an issue to you, then.
Not an issue to me if we can do it. You're better at this than me. So do you want to read it?
Mikey, try it.
Sure.
Let Mikey do it.
I make a motion to approve the OEC grant for operational funds in the amount of $975,000 and to approve the OEC grant for capital improvement funds in the amount of $150,000.
That was Mitch that second.
So,
All right. Is there, so there's, maybe we should have read that first actually, but is there any more discussion? I guess I'll say since we just made the motion. Andrea, did you want to say something?
No, I voted inadvertently.
All right.
So I'll just put it up there and vote.
All right. So we will take the vote. So if we can just run down, everybody online put their hands up, but all in favor of this motion? All right, and I'm in favor, so so it's unanimous. We have all in favor, so There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people in the meeting right now, and all 8 are in favor. So I guess we have no opposed, no abstentions.
I'm truly grateful because I know through the
Oh,
town
oh.
charter, my next step is to bring it to town council. And then we'll team. So thank you very much.
All right, and then Joan, I don't know if it matters for the minutes, but Jen arrived in person at 6:12. Sean arrived in person at 6:14. So I think we have everybody in the meeting except for Brad Flees.
And I read it.
Oh, yeah, sorry. And Ian arrived at 6:25. So, all right.
Thank you, Shannon.
Yeah, thank you, Shannon.
Good night.
All right, so next item on the agenda is discussion and possible action on the FY 27 budget. So this item is, we had passed the Board of Ed budget in February. That budget was reduced by the, the town elected bodies by $800,000. And this meeting is essentially to figure out where we're gonna, reduce our budget by that $800,000. I will also say right now that there was after the right at the end of the budget process, the state gave the town of Groton $1 million to go towards education. 500,000 of that, the town thankfully gave us for this year, and I believe they used the other 500,000 to offset taxes. But it was roughly $1 million. So we are not going to discuss tonight. We're not going to discuss how to use that $500,000 unless we're going to be using all or parts of it towards this 800,000. So if we were to say use 100,000 of it towards the budget, we're not going to talk about the other 400 tonight. We'll talk about that in a separate meeting. So we'll just talk about that as it relates to tonight's. You understand?
I understand what you're saying. I'm not sure I understand.
Because I think that if there is additional things to talk about, that can be outside of, that's not, we're talking about last year's budget, where that money is really meant to talk about stuff for next year. Well, I shouldn't say last year's budget, the budget that we've already approved. So, and I think that really, and the reason it's not on the agenda is because I think that could be a whole sidetrack of conversation of how the best way to spend that money was.
Okay.
So if we spend it to offset things in the budget, then that's fine for tonight. But if we have an extra $100,000, we'll just talk about that in a bit. So, and I think that goes into the
non-lapsing.
it goes into non-lapsing, so it's not necessarily part of the budget either. So,
And also keep us in good standing with the FOI regulations on special meetings.
yeah. So, do you want to?
So, luckily, we had a good conversation with Adrian just to kind of get a sense of what would be the best way to proceed. And he talked about giving some examples that come from our budget that, we could look at and for FY 27. And so we really used an Excel spreadsheet. And I think Rita has a way of showcasing this. We actually played in the sandbox a little bit today ourselves to say, how many ways can we get to 800,000? Let's test it out and see how this works. And it worked out pretty nicely. We actually had kind of a sample one that we looked at, and we can kind of share with you, after you discuss this and look at these items. I don't know, can we make it any bigger, Rita? Is that just me?
You have a copy of this, Ian?
Yes, I found it on the desk.
All right.
It's in the packet. There goes Zoom thing in the corner.
Oh, there you go. That's too big.
We're getting there.
Can it be that big enough?
Yeah.
No, Now we really can't.
There you go.
And so you got it by function, page, account number, the title of what it is that we're talking about, and then green is for go, which means we would increase or up, and decrease is in red. So these are all things that we were thinking about decreasing, so you want to kind of guide us, and some notes that we took about what they were. Did you want to orient people any further about how we could proceed? Or
Yeah, we have another scenario, I think this is scenario one, which is over the 100,000. As you can see, so we have choices of what you'd like to keep in or remove.
And in our scenario, we looked at opportunities where you could take partial. So we talked about the tutors, for instance, and said sometimes have a tutor that comes in after the beginning of the day, so they're there all through the instructional time. You can pay them part-time salary, and but yet you get really some efficiencies because they're there for the bulk of the instruction. And so do you have that model?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you move on, so you said you have two scenarios. The scenario one is higher, and if scenario two is the same items, and we're just showing less lines because we could just stay on the same page rather than looking back and forth.
Scenario two is fine, here. So scenario two is you
No,
don't have
put that
time.
on the computer because it's electronic, so you can play around with it.
Scenario two is making the tutors half-time instead of full-time, so. And kind of reducing, taking some of these cuts out, but we're gonna need to take some out, which comes up to 957,000. But this is what we were playing with to come to the exact 800,000.
You want to just go through and kind of
So-
highlight and explain what you think we're, because I get confused a little bit too.
A lot of these were the additions to the budget, to the original budget. And
Are all the additions that we made based on the kind of wish list in the schools? Here?
Not all of them are not here, I think we did not put.
The social worker.
We kept social worker. In the budget.
Doesn't mean that that has to be the final end all. That's just as I was thinking.
So maybe because it's like not the larger number, right? And then you can just go through the larger number because we can use only remove 150 on the loan if we want to.
Right, yeah,
Rather
That-
than going through the 800 and then trying to understand what the other 160 or 150 is.
we played around because we wanted to see how it worked in lifetime, but also to say, give you an example of a way that could get to 800,000. And I don't know, you might just want to just explain that briefly, so you've got a sense of what brought us down to the 800.
It was basically bringing tutors down from time and restoring some of the supplies and site budgets that we did in scenario one. We were taking out 58,000 of supplies from site budget. Restored a little bit of that. Yes, but, and it is on the scenario one and two, moving the curriculum, the new math curriculum into the math. 500,000 from the state, 300,000.
So when we're talking about the additions to the budget, we're talking about the principals have requests, we consider them as rather,
We don't have now.
and we consider them rather late in the game. And some of them were adding on, some of the requests were adding on. Could you just, I think I see some of them get just line by, like the food
Line by
system
line.
program, the others, the activities, that's not one, but the
So we have
MRMS, so
building
which ones
sub.
are? I'll just start. Building sub,
At Mystic River,
yeah.
Mystic River to Ely tutor,
Okay.
Thames River building sub, Thames River math tutor, CK math tutor. CD max either.
Okay, so it really just goes.
Yeah, except for the social work.
And then I think at the top, you remember that we got the request for supporting a food assistance program or getting that started.
Community,
And then there was an enrichment for additional sports. And then explain the group insurance.
well, the group insurance is these positions,
Oh, yeah, reduced.
you know.
Yeah.
We're reducing the insurance. If we take the positions out, we're reducing the insurance and benefits fund 25%. So that comes out to 34,000.
Can you explain it? Contingency, 311.
That was for negotiations. That was what was the board for that. For contract negotiations.
And the word contingency can be for all kinds of contingencies that the board needs or wishes, like boilers breaking in the middle of the school year and all that jazz. I would also like to say that we looked at other positions down at the bottom.
Did we move the IT clerical position?
We did.
We had 2 retirements after the board approved budget, so that 30,000 for the retirements. We take 2,000 away when we have a retirement.
So what? Where are those?
Right under
So-
the
Under the group insurance midway down.
254.
254, oh, it's the clerical position at that time.
We talked to Clint first. And I've offered him support. Not that I can be his admin assistant, but I've offered him some support. His work.
All right, so that's the IT admin.
So,
Where,
I'm sorry, where did you?
that's,
So for function 2399, it's titled group insurance.
Yes, that's reduction of all the positions above it.
Okay, but it's not just group insurance.
No, it's the benefit.
Okay, that's what's throwing me off. It's
Yeah,
group
it's all
insurance.
Yeah, I just put it to one line because I could split it up the FICA
that's
and all
fine.
that. It would be the-
Yeah, the notes say it's-
If we, and then if we move the positions to part-time, like in scenario 2, then we don't have the benefits.
Well, in scenario 1, the benefits is 54, in scenario 2, it's 34, goes down.
And then in scenario 1, I'm sure you said this, but the scenario 1, like the tutors and the subs, those decreases reflect not eliminating them, but putting them at half-time.
In scenario 2. putting it
Oh, what's
back.
is scenario
One
1?
is eliminated.
It's eliminating? So,
But then we have another $157,550.
well, but I'm just trying to, so that net, like the CKMS math tutor, if that drops by $39,150,
We put it to
that's getting rid of.
the whole.
Yeah, okay, got it. Now, is a tutor, I guess it is a full-time position with benefits, or, so, and then can you hire a half-time person, or is that person
Yeah, we have
just
a lot of,
half-time at 2 different places?
No, you could not have.
we have a
Like,
lot of
but-
retirees. who
But
take-
functionally, we can, like, we will actually yield them, okay?
Yeah, yes.
So, thank you.
And then we looked at the site budget and what was it, a 10%?
Yeah, that's a 10%, the 58,000.
But then we looked at a less amount.
Scenario 2, we reduced it.
Two. What did we pull from scenario 2?
We just reduced it, I think, to come to 800,000.
Oh, okay. Make it work. And then we looked at the end of the year. This was interesting because a couple people said, let's look at end year costs. A couple of you had mentioned and see, where we are. So there was some room with Groton Middle School leftover funds and at Fitch High School sports that we thought that, with our current spending, we knew that could be doable for next year if you chose to do that.
Right.
Reduce it, but it's not losing any teams or anything in particular, but it is reducing what they didn't spend.
So that's why it says based on some spending,
Mhm.
we reduced those 2 lines.
And that's a sports, but my guess is that's like sports and student activities, that's that. Like big, like it funds many things, but.
Yeah, that's why I didn't put page numbers, I
Yeah.
just put in between 300.
Oh, makes sense.
We would reduce 5,000. Not exactly sure if we would come from where it comes 5 or.
And in the next scenario, the second scenario, did we use the same amount?
Second scenario, we gave back.
We gave it back, we kept it whole.
Copy of the first one.
And,
Yeah, we worked on the second scenario. Yeah. I can print this out if you want.
yeah, we can print it out. I'll go.
No, because we'll just need to.
Because I think
adjustments
I just
online.
assumed-
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah,
what
don't worry.
my.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
exactly.
we're
So
debating.
We'll just do it on the fly, but I do have so, you know how it's like sports and it's like based on current spend, blah, blah, blah. If we do this, we give challenges, right? I don't want it to be like whatever sports didn't spend gets penalized because it's getting to the point like, oh, I spend everything, so I get my budget and here I was playing good steward, not spending, and then now they're gonna take my budget away. So whatever budget we land on for sports, Mark needs to distribute and take it where appropriate. I don't want people who are playing by the rules to get penalized. And so if we're gonna do anything, whether it's the sports or and the activities or social other student activities, I just always want to make that clear that just because one area followed the rules and there was a challenge, let's say by a principal to not spend, to reduce, whatever it may be, and another area went up, it needs to be equitably or like whatever administration, that building administration thinks is equitable.
Jen, I'd just like to say that in preparing budgets, you know how early we get started and it's really a projection. So many times we've seen where we've had to do transfers because there wasn't enough that we had predicted. And in some cases, I guess we had overreached. So sometimes I think it's a matter of not even just not spending it, but just accounting for it ahead of time and not, having it just perfect, so it kind of is a give and take.
So question, scenario 1 exceeds the mark by
Mhm.
157,000.
Exactly.
But
Because we wanted
both-
to give you more choices.
Both scenarios include, not funding the curriculum team.
Well,
In
we're
the current
moving
budget,
that- yeah,
we
moving
want
that
to
to
move
that
them
line.
to move curriculum.
To cover it with
Move
the
the state
500,000.
on.
Yeah,
with 3 of the
It's the
500,000.
one-time purchase.
right. And how long do we estimate that purchase would be good? Shelf life, curriculum?
Well, it's a curriculum and PD. The last curriculum that we had in both math and ELA lasted us a decade. So I'm not saying it's going to be a whole decade, but we certainly know that we kind of really make sure our teachers understand their lessons and curriculum. So that's a constant that you continue to get PD. But a lot of our PD comes in the way of our grants, our DODEA grants and other grants. And that's one of the reasons on the conference travel, we were able to reduce about 10.8 because we do get grants. We do still have several DODEA grants where if they're going to travel for a particular cause, we try to have it to go through grants. So we're able to reduce that piece too. I feel pretty confident in that.
So either scenario as it stands now, take $300,000. Or $500,000, so that only leaves $200,000 balance of what the state gave us. But we only, so we only have of that money to spend towards Richmond. If we agree. So there could be another scenario where if we kept all the reductions in scenario 1, but reversed the 157,000 balance back in to cover half the cost of the curriculum upgrades, that would reduce the draw on the 500,000 down to 150,000.
Yeah, that's an idea.
So that could be a scenario 3.
And then you have more in the non-exceed ones.
So, all right, good, Mike.
So the other document we included was, maybe you can ask about that, but it's around electricity, gas, and fuel oil. And it shows what we have in the budget document that was approved to this point, and then also what we're up to projected final for this current year. And what we're up to for the current year was more than what we had in our budget. Of course, when that budget was made, it was based on January/February numbers at best, and a lot of things happened internationally since then. And so the difference is, like, in our budget, FY27 budget document, we have combined, I think it's like $137,000 less for those things, electricity, gas, and fuel combined, than we are spending currently this year. And my concern is it basically we're underfunding those things, because it's like sitting where we are right now, it doesn't seem like those things will go down this year.
I'd like to say they already are going down. I mean, I needed to stay and paid $3.97 for gas, and I saw that my oil went down to $4.19. So they're already going. It's very hard to say what extra is going to bring. Whether we're going to have a hard winter, easy winter. So I prefer to start looking at the budget early and do budget transfers, then start adding and increasing in this scenario. Right now, we have to decrease 800,000,
Yeah.
right? So,
But I guess my concern is, and I mean, this is somewhat like an argument to keep a contingency, for instance, but is like that we either one have money, like liquid money to be able to account for if the fuel, electricity, and everything goes up more than what we have, or that we're not like kind of locking ourselves in by hiring new people. Because it'd be really hard, and maybe you can't even do this to get rid of a position during the school year to then pay for fuel. It seems like, and this has happened in several years, that we're always under and combined. Like we had to transfers this year already, right? And we did the year before as well.
Oh, and certainly having those non-lapsing funds this year was so beneficial to us, because we did see those upticks, and we were able, that was really a saving grace. So I would say that if there are areas that we can either have, whether we call it contingency or non-lapsing funds, to have that little bit of wiggle room with.
And we are expecting to sort of like spend out our current non-lapsing funds just to support this current year. And we're starting more or less to zero, except for the 500K.
Honestly, I think it would be worth considering the scenario 3 that I described. Only that reason that we're not sure exactly what's going to happen this coming year. Having more in non-matching fund as a fallback is would be great for us. Non-matching fund, having more in that would be better than this. So yeah, doing scenario 3 where we put the 157, 550 back towards the curriculum purchases. Therefore, that would increase 143 something. 142 something. So yeah, you make a good point. My concern is that I'm really hoping we could get this goes with a but it's just concerns and
getting harder and more expensive to educate children. In schools like Mystic River, who have the highest, population, the highest special ed population, really need additional support. I'm not as familiar with the rest of my kids with Mystic River, so I'm more familiar there, but, it's concerned to, be able to get the principles that they need to effectively operate. I know it's not on us, it's sad that 300,000 that they will from the budget we were proud of.
Well, if I could, respond to that, yeah, I mean, I think honestly, like, this happens year after year where, the board budget is put at odds with town budget and town taxpayer. And, there is some conversation happening up on a level about reconsidering how schools are funded, period, statewide. Maybe getting away from the property tax model, getting away from the individual municipality model, looking at a more collective type way to fund schools more equitably. And I would encourage, my fellow board members to look into those things and advocate as they see fit. To get away from this dichotomy that we constantly get stuff into. It's not great for anybody. Sure. People would rather fund the schools, but everyone's very concerned, rightfully so, about their economic situation. So it's feels to me like, we're kind of stuck in a rock and stop and robots in fact, like the solution to the problem, a sustainable solution to the problem is larger than just town by town. And we have to study seriously, in my opinion.
That point.
All right, my thought is to go through this kind of line by line and get the boards, feeling, because some of these, like, we've talked about that 235 for negotiations. In this scenario, we'd be getting rid of that, to get to that 957. And we should also talk about, it looks like what Mike was going to say, which is right when I was going to say it, or something similar, much better stated from Mike, but that 137,000, should we just change that now so that, and plan on a level budget for next year with, so basically using the same amount of that we're spending, that we think we're going to spend anyway this year. And which would mean we'd have to come up with 937,000 in reductions versus 800 if we wanted to just make our estimated spend for 26 on 631, 632, and 633 the same for 27 as it is for 26. Which I know makes things much more complicated for Rita. So,
Can I ask you a question about the negotiations or the contingency thing?
yeah.
So could that be, I know we're trying to put it in the budget for this year, be ready to have a contract that could be negotiated, settled, activated this coming year. Is that correct? Yeah. No.
This is,
They have a fourth year, so they have one more year. to
Oh,
go.
okay.
so FY 27, that
Correct.
correct. And this like, I see that amount as kind of a ramp up to get where we're gonna need to be. So I see that as a slight budget. I mean, slight, it's a huge number, obviously. But it's gonna be a slight budget adjustment into where we're gonna end up next year anyway.
Right.
So I see that amount as just a ramp up. Partially to relieve some of the stresses in contracts and also like put it in our budget so it's not quite as big of a hit next year.
I mean, I feel for that. I would definitely rather keep it if possible, but I don't see the map. So I'm not sure what to do with that.
Yeah, so the other thing, and I don't know what the board's feeling on this, but maybe we should talk about the health insurance, the balances now, because the last time we had those numbers were from January or December, right?
Yeah, yeah, they got it.
Yeah, so, so if you can explain what's going on with the health insurance, and this is, if you can just do a quick like summary of OPEB versus the regular health insurance.
The active fund is the active employee,
Yeah,
right? Top, top balance, which has surplus right in the 4.8.
so that's,
And then the OPEB is retirees contributions that we have to, their claims and their activity, their fund is separate. And they currently, as this is as of April 30th, so it doesn't have all deposits for the year yet, as we deposit monthly. And their balance is negative $380,000.
all right.
They have, I can tell you that the claims high this year for the OPEB. So
But we've always said that we try to take care of that
Yeah,
responsibility. And sometimes you can offset it with the, you know, those, when we have those strong funds. And really at 4.8, we usually take 15% of the overage, and then we add 1 million to make sure we have that corridor that we used to talk about. And so that would be $3 million that we would need in there. We're talking about, we have 4.8, so we've got a pretty good corridor.
the town, what they keep in the reserve is 15%. 15% for us would be about $2,000.
2 million.
2 million. And then we keep an extra million.
Yeah.
Just in case, so that's $3 million that we should keep in reserve.
So we're
Well,
expecting
above
to
that.
spend all of that.
4.6.
Yeah.
And it's of the total projected claims, which is that problem.
So just boil it down, are you saying that there's a possible 1.8 million that we could move?
We
Out of
wouldn't-
there?
We wouldn't do
all
that.
of it,
No.
But there is. We're just telling you how healthy.
Yeah.
the fund is.
That corridor is that.
Right.
Yeah, we have to take care of both.
Right, right.
Yep. Yeah.
I didn't like that.
So how much do we have to move responsibly? How much of that 4.86 do we have to move into OPEB likely? Like where should that, I mean, obviously that number shouldn't be negative, and it is, so we need to
Right.
fix that, but
I mean, the year's not done, so.
Yeah, we
but
have
there also could be more claims though, correct?
Correct.
So it might,
to see where we end up.
Monthly, we're putting in. We're taking things out and we're putting projects in place and retired staff and then checks.
but I guess what would we ideally like to see? I'm assuming we would like to see a reserve in that, a little bit of a reserve, right? So how much is the reserve? Just a second.
Sorry, I'd have to look into what the reserve would be for retirees because I don't have the number in front of me that I'm using gives us for retirees. I have to
All right.
look into it.
So there is a number that they say that we should have, just like we should have at least 15% on the healthcare for excess. Yeah, go ahead. Lori.
I don't recall the exact number, but I think the town was. There are obligations.
And then, so it would be 20% of the roughly 1.6 million, or what, no, that's not right.
You would have to pull back for the report. But it certainly would be flat. And I think we finished last year around half a million. Before we did that. So we certainly need to get back to flat.
I'm
Because
thinking
right now with no reserve.
I'm thinking there was a study, if to be 20%, around 360, 360,000.
So we, yeah, just, I'll get your effort, Jen, Mitch. But so I'm just trying to, so if the board, and I'm not saying that the board should do this, but if the board were to take money from the health balance. I'm just trying to understand how much we could take from the health balance in being responsible with the reserve.
We had been nominal at first,
Wait.
and I'm sorry.
Yeah, all right.
There's a order there.
Yeah.
So, I am totally against this, right? We shouldn't borrow just because something looks positive. We got into this mess 2 to 3 years ago because we borrowed and if we since had to pay back, impacting operations. It's easy to say we want to fund something and we can take it from here. It is not financially prudent to do that. It should not even be an option because if we're at 4.8 right now and we're gonna say we need to keep 3 million, that gives us 1.8. We're in the red, like 900,000. So if you do take that, you have 1.8 left to take out. That's 900,000. And then if you're gonna do 20% on that, that's another 2, which will only give you 0.8 left. And that is not enough for a balance to like, so if you're thinking about like potentially taking something, you can probably take anywhere between 5 max to 0.8. And that is just not enough. We had a low claims year for medical. Just like a year or 2 years ago, our claims were higher. We can easily get like a high risk medical thing that just kills us. So whatever the board decides, I just want you to know that you really, it's an easy out and it's just not financially prudent.
Mitch, and then Jay after Mitch.
Just as follow on what you're saying, then, what would be your proposal to make up that difference?
We're gonna have to suck in our pencils and look a little deeper in operations and maybe we can't make all the investments we want. We've been asking for social workers and we've had to fund them 1 year at a time. And if that's what we do, that's what we do. But all these other positions, and unfortunately, that's awful. And it's not the most ideal, but we really do have time for the tutors, like administration is requesting, you know, there's some sports ones there. Let's talk about those things that, you know, we need to make sure that we're, first of all, we'll be in compliant, right? Right now, we're not in compliant with OPEB rules. So we need to get in compliance. So we definitely need to take from that help kit to fund that. But we just need to dig a little deeper. And I'm sorry, it's like hard because we want to do all these things, but if we can't afford it, we can't afford it. And we just need to do a better job next year again to make our place getting better and easier every year. You know, we didn't face as much scrutiny this year. We faced a lot with RTM and town council. But, you know, with PETA, you know, they're building the trust in you and getting the transparency with all the other stuff that's going on. You know, if I personally believe that if town council and RTM totally understand like what we're spending right now, there's a negative perception there from the past 2-3 years, right? That they think that we have like this stockpile somewhere, especially in the salaries and benefits line, because they can't see how we're planning by position. But Rita has a budget system coming in place for next year's budget season. So I think this needs to look a better place.
Keep going, Mitch.
But I think we need to draw a line in the sand. And we can't just say, well, I understand people keep sending me checks every day and every day. Okay. Generally, it seems to me people who are retired usually have more health issues than people who aren't. They're old. Okay, I'm old, so I can say that. And I'm retired too. But can we, as of, we're 30/26. How much money would we need to bring this to zero? $760,000.
If we want to reserve, I just, this is just has to be concrete. That's my projection. If we had to do it on 4/30 years.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the only way you can work it. So, I don't have a problem taking that out of the DOE Act. $760,000. Just need to still find what's the, at least get the time in place. I'm done, thank you.
Yeah. All right, Jay.
Yes, thank you. First of all, Jen's exactly right. We don't want to borrow so much from the insurance reserve that it puts the whole system in jeopardy. As Ray pointed out, about every 10 years, there's a cycle that creates deficits. However, a couple things have changed, and that is that we have reduced the lasering of claims, which caused us to have a larger exposure. And am I correct, Rita, that they're still not lasering claims?
Right.
Yeah. So that put us in a lot of jeopardy a couple of years ago, because when the insurance company lasers a claim, it basically throws off the normal reinsurance protections on one or two claims. And I don't know how high they got, whether it was 2 or 3. And so the lasering is off. So that makes the policy more stable from the get-go. Second of all, the policy is designed to grow a reserve. We pay in enough every year that we pay at the rate that as though we were an insurance company, so that the reserve stays healthy. However, it's not fair to the taxpayer to build up such an excess in that account and not use it, and then tax them for it, which is why I've always argued that we need to prudently use excess reserve. But of course, OPEB has to be taken care of first. And so even the town has guidelines for how high their reserve accounts can get. And Cindy Landry she was not in a position to dictate to the board, but she would tell us what their guidelines were for how large a reserve account could get. You just can't be sitting on a pot of money and then turn around and tax the taxpayer. So I'm all for a prudent use of excess reserve once OPEB is fully funded.
Ian?
I want to thank Jay for putting it so succinctly. I would agree with that approach. Far as that goes. I think I was just asking for clarity of the number. Like I was advocating for using it for 1.8. We definitely, but I think there is some strategic reserve, some strategic amount that could be pulled from that, mainly to satisfy OPEB, but maybe some other things too. But we have to take a close look at the numbers for that.
Maybe we look at the numbers for the utility for that. Because that way we had to really know what the real numbers are going to be. That's the flexibility. Those are offsetting for competencies.
That's why you kind of need to get into the year to see how things are going. And those transfers have been awesome at letting us see exactly what our spend is. And so using that information at the end of the year to predict has really been good.
Yeah, I mean, my own opinion on the transfers is that I think we saw a lot of them this year. We're hopefully not going to have that many next year, and if there are, there's gonna be like a lot of detail into them. Is that the plan? The transfers?
I believe there's gonna be, I don't think they're gonna drop significantly because the budget was entered from the principals, you know, to me like December and January. We did a lot of these transfers towards the end of the year. So I'm skeptical to say that they're gonna drop significantly. You know what I'm saying? Because their budgets are kind of similar to, the budgets in next year are similar to this. So if we're doing all these transfers and their budget's similar, I think we're gonna need some transfers, but I think in July and August is when I'm gonna talk to them to project and hopefully get those budget transfers out of the way in July and August so that they're, you know, planning for the whole year. That makes sense.
Right. That makes sense.
And not making 10 transfers and only making maybe 1 or 2. They're making transfers as things happen right now, instead of seeing it the whole year and planning for the whole year.
So just quickly, that my kind of overall sense is there were a lot of transfers that were kind of like to get things in the right spot, like it
And
just
those two.
budget wise, like right category.
Right.
But the other one, it seemed like a lot of the flow was, broadly speaking, from salaries and benefits to, like, for instance, utilities, things like that. Is that a fair characterization? Or
The
is it
salary
too
and benefits
simplified?
one are just chewing up, and you're gonna have those every year, because it's really hard to be exact on every single salary line. But I think a lot of the other transfers were reallocations of where the principal decided towards the end of the year where he wanted to spend the money. We have a lot of fluctuating stuff in special ed, fluctuates like crazy, so those transfers are gonna happen. But I feel like next year we're gonna have better handle on based on the transfers we made this year, we're gonna have a better handle on how many transfers we have to make. You know, and so I do think it's gonna decrease. Because we can combine transfers right now. A lot of departments aren't thinking about combining transfers, they're doing transfers to this and transfer to this. So it will decrease because we're gonna have new rates and we're getting more adapted to it.
We're having a lot
brand
more
new for that. Yeah. No, we're not.
Yeah, all right. So my thought is, unless anybody has a different idea, is to just go through these lines. I don't know how we're gonna do with scenario 1 and scenario 2, especially since I don't have scenario 2 and my vision is not.
We could print it out and then you'd have it right up close. If you wanted to.
No, can I ask one clarifying question?
Yeah,
Rita, you said something about,
You got one, Ricky?
pulling something from utilities?
yeah, I mean,
Or
That-
from,
We were talking about,
it's her that's
Oh,
concerned.
yeah.
So that's,
we were talking about the reserve.
yeah,
Maybe we wait, to talk about the reserve and utilities late, because we're not at the end of the year, because
Got
we don't know where it's gonna end, we're in this is as of April.
so let's focus on the scenario as it stands.
I just going
All right,
by
can you see that from May?
May and June,
Obviously,
right,
June.
all those deposits and claims about. Right, so you could have a high claim in May. I don't know.
Or you could have a low.
Low, right, it could just change so much.
you mean make another column after scenario 2?
I was so pushed it. I was just suggesting, like, as we go forward this next part, that we're gonna need to see, like, what we kind of consensus think is a good idea. We've done a tracker for that. I was wondering if you just like, I mean, you can do it any way you want, but it seems like it'd be pretty easy. Slide scenario 2 over out of view and then make that like a tracker view. Something like that.
I would just
Or
say
yeah.
yes or no, take it out, say no, and take it out, and say yes, keep it in.
And then see where we
Let you
end
know
up.
where the bottom line is, right?
right at the bottom.
Some of the things are the same. In both scenarios.
Yes, come on.
Correct.
Just as long as you remember what scenario 1 is, because I was gonna say, it's
Yeah, you have another copy, right?
I mean,
This is
this
a
is a
copy.
copy.
It's a copy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have.
This was made so we could do play around in the sandbox.
Yeah.
I think Adrian, which would work if you
Mhm.
to do that.
Yeah, well, it's just like, what do we all want to say? You
Yeah, I
know,
can
so
take
for the
everything
first
to
line
do.
item,
That it's not confusing. That's why I did it earlier. Because we can make scenario 1 and have. You know, I could make pages.
yeah, let's do that, and then
Yeah.
we can choose to reduce or leave. All
That's really
right,
good.
and then we're just gonna go yes, no,
Mhm.
and we don't really need to do abstain, I guess. All right, let's start on 2311, the food assistance program. This is something that Monica White had brought, because I think the Noack Baptist Church had been donating food, and it may not have been getting out as efficiently as it could have been. So this was added as a kind of a stipend to have somebody in the building side help with that. I will say that shortly after that meeting, she had told me, and I wish I remembered the number, but it was about $7,000 or $8,000 that had been donated towards food assistance, which isn't going to offset this, but it's straight money and donations that she has taken in to support, that this program would be supporting getting 2 kids. So, and that was in March. I don't know what's happened since then, if they've taken more money. That's the last time I talked to her about it. So that there is community support for this. And it will have an effect on, it will have an effect on children. But with that little bit being said, if the board has any questions on that, feel free to ask me. But otherwise, we'll just vote on it, see if we want to keep that in or not. So.
I think during the budget process, right, like, I had sort of said that this was an investment in like. So
Right.
for this reason, we opened that. So what had happened was, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like directly towards
Food.
food. It was for-
No, it
There was a person or
Correct.
two to coordinate,
Yeah.
and then, we have a liaison meeting tomorrow, right? Maybe we could just say like, hey, town, step it up, right?
Well.
I don't think that's the candor.
Hey,
But-
I appreciate the candor.
No, yeah, I like the
But-
candor.
But,
Yeah.
you know, help us, right? You have.
Can I say this one thing though, that our counselors, both at the high school and the middle school, have kind of taken this on. We do have a food locker at the middle school with United Way. And it's our counselors who really stepped up to help support that. And at the high school, with the generosity of the church, they did have some kind of a system to find out very privately which kids needed the bags and which didn't. And I think it's through the counseling center that those were able to be given out. So
Yeah.
we do have people already in place who are watching after kids and know our kids.
Yeah, I think from my understanding of it, it was inefficient system and wasn't nearly as effective, which is why I had proposed that in the first place, that having it where it was somebody's actual job. It was hard to bridge the gap between the church, and I don't want to say this is the church's money. They're just, because I know that there's some private individuals and businesses that have given money to the church to give to the account, to give to the schools or provide food directly. So I think that the 4,000 was just so that there was so that it was somebody's responsibility to make sure that process happened a lot better. So I believe that there's going to be more money as we go on. But But that being said, that was the point, is because there was kind of a breakdown, you know, with getting the food into the school and to the right kids. Or it wasn't happening as well as it could have. Go ahead, Mitch.
I'm in favor of taking it out.
That's fair. We're gonna vote on it in a minute. So I just wanted to explain it, and then, and it, you know, and we can certainly talk about these things as we go through. But, so the way we'll do these is, a yes will be to remove the amount as proposed, you know, in parentheses in the red. And then a no, you know, and I guess if we want to cut it down, we can just have that discussion as we go. So,
It's majority.
yeah, just, well, we have 8 people, so,
Yeah.
so actually to take so we need to have, to take this, we need to have 5 in support of the removal.
Yeah.
Out of 8.
Just clarify that, yeah.
All right, so, so for, that first line, 2311, everybody in support of removing that, raise your hands. So we have 1, 2, 3. Sean, are you in support of removing it? 4. Jay or Andrea, are you in support of removing that 400,000? $4,000.
People will be giving us food.
We're done.
That's it. That's right.
Tell you that it's so difficult for me to hear. I'm not even sure what I'm voting on or not on. So
All right,
I'm either gonna abstain or I'm gonna go with the majority. So I don't
All
know which is parliamentarily.
So, I'll explain it if you can hear me. We're
Okay.
on the top line that says 2311. We
Yes.
are, voting, should we, reduce the budget by that amount and eliminate that line item essentially out of the budget? So it would be reducing 400,000 or 4,000 from the budget and reducing that, that stipend basically.
I hear you, and I'm still unclear on what I'm doing. So is it prudent to remove it? Or, you know, I'm thinking that Lori and her, or I mean, Rita and her staff proposed this. So that makes sense if they proposed it to keep it, but I'll go with the majority of the board.
This was a board addition, so this wasn't in the original superintendent's budget.
I
And
see.
they are proposing in this to remove it.
I don't know. I'm abstaining because I still don't get it. But what do my brain really
right, so-
absorbs this?
And then Jay,
No.
all right, so we have 4, 2, and I'm a no.
I'm a no.
So 4 to 3 to 0. Yeah, Andrea abstained.
I'll go no.
431.
Or 431, yeah. So,
That's perfect.
so it stays in or it gets removed now?
I guess they're removed.
All right, if it's,
We've approved the.
so the abstention just gets kept out of the vote. All right, all right, all right, so this is.
Jay, I mean, Adrian,
Yeah,
this is Joan. I'm trying to follow you, but I'm not.
all right, so on line 1, we just voted 4 in favor of that $4,000 reduction. 3 against that $4,000 reduction, and then 1 abstention from that vote.
Or 3.
Yeah, 4 in favor of the reduction, 3 not in favor of the reduction, and then an abstention. So that would, yeah, pass.
Okay, I followed that. I just asked who was the no's. I have Jay and yourself.
Yeah.
Ian.
And Ian.
Ian, thank you.
All right. So that will stay in as proposed. Other student activities. So this is starts with 1260. other student activities. This was basically a board addition to run a couple of after-school sports activities. How are we going to run those?
It was stipend, it was three stipends, $500.
3 stipends to run intramural sports
Yeah.
to basically increase increase middle school sports offerings.
Right.
So, is there any questions on that? All right, so let's go ahead. So, everyone that's in favor of that reduction, which would be a yes, raise your hand. So we have Ian, Jen, Mike, Mitch. So it's 4. And Andrea or Jay, are you in favor of that reduction?
No, I am not.
All right. So it's 4. And then Jay?
No.
All right. So that one is 4-4. So that will get zeroed out. We won't be taking that reduction. All right. So now we're on to. Can I slide this closer to me?
Yeah.
I don't have good vision near or far these days. So
There's no way we can make it when we take it out, right?
all right, so this is line 6 in the spreadsheet, starts with 1119. This is a board addition of $30,000 where we added a building sub. The one thing I'll make a note of on this is because when we add a building sub, if we reduce a building sub, yes, it's a $30,000 reduction from the budget, but in theory, that building sub has to be covered many of the days by a daily sub, so that's not actually going to be a $30,000 reduction. It will kind of in the budget the way it looks, but we're going to have to, presumably that building sub is substituting when a teacher is absent. We'll otherwise have to hire a substitute, daily substitute.
But those
So-
aren't.
They're not, but it's more than half. I mean, it's I forget.
More than-
Yeah, it's like whatever, $20,000. It's 1,200 days times 150.
What you're doing originally so that there's continuity, so kids know who building subs are, it's, and that just people are gonna come in, whatever, they're gonna be there. So.
Correct. So it was continuity. I think that principals feel that a building sub is much more valuable than having a day sub, and it's better for the students because there's continuity because they get used to seeing the same face. And my guess is that the people that get building subs are probably the most effective substitutes.
Question though, sorry, I'm just gonna go back to the first line. I think we may have made a mistake. The vote was 4-3-1. 4 was in favor of
Of the
the
reduction.
reduction. So that 4,000 has been pulled out. Oh, wait, sorry, yeah.
Not to worry, I was going crazy with that earlier. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, all right, so my next question is,
Yes.
so is the building sub one of the positions that in scenario 2 was reduced by a half?
No.
No, that's all enough. Okay.
All right. Yeah. Mitch, go ahead.
Is there a building sub in that building now?
Yes.
Okay, so there is a building sub. This would be an additional building sub. Okay, that's a little bit different than what I had thought. Here,
And they have the most professionals, but.
Yeah, there's like 550 students or something like that.
yeah, it's a big program.
No.
Yes. So. Is that building sub spend most of its time supporting special ed? think it's kind of related to a certain extent. I gotta be careful how I word this, to the contingency. um, That's in here. If you took that person out, it's not only would you save the 30,000, but you'd also save some of the money in the group insurance line. Okay? And you still have a building sub. And if we increase it to a certain group of people, we may have more coverage in those at a much lower rate.
Anne Marie?
So I'm preparing for tomorrow. I'm being kind of good to the last person. And I just before coming into this meeting, I was preparing for an interview meeting with Mr. Wheeler and reading his interview reflection. His interview reflection, he was talking about his goals. And his goals this year were to work to increase the obviously the performance of the students with less needs, intervention needs specifically, English learners, and then also some students that needed extra assistance in reading and math. And he spoke specifically about the struggle he had this year in terms of having to pull his interventionists, those teachers and tutors that are working with students with those needs specifically because of the number of absences that he had to cover. So when he has absences like for tutors or teachers, we had to pull those people that are working with those two populations of students. So I just want you to not trying to advocate really one way or another, but give you that information just because it's fresh in my mind before I can.
That you're gonna have more of a positive impact on test scores, which group of students, to help which group of students. I think I know the answer to that question.
I'm saying that if you have a building sub, you won't have to pull people from working with those. You won't have to pull people from working with those students.
I'm just kind of focused overall on trying to improve our test base.
Yeah.
Oh, that, and those interventionists are really critical people and tutors are, yeah.
Yeah, and I think all of these cuts are gonna have a negative effect on test scores. So
There's no way
to
around
varying
Thanks, guys.
degrees, if we're worried about test scores, cutting support services, it's gonna have a negative effect. So I'll go with Mike and then Jen, and then Suzie.
Thanks. I do see the value of building subs, and I certainly see that, the value in tutors as well. I personally think that tutors, keeping them at least in some fraction of what we asked for is gonna be more impactful. So I'll just speak to all these next few lines and say, I'm in favor of the reductions for the building sub at Miss River and Thames River. And then I'm also in favor of reducing by half the tutor lines in that as well. And knowing that like this isn't going to be a budget where the school system is going to get a lot better. And that's kind of heartbreaking, but I think that's where we are financially.
Jen?
It's a net during the budget process, right? Like, it was favoring and like when we specifically invested in building subs, one, like I said originally for continuity, but two, it costs us less, even it was stated otherwise earlier, it costs us less because the person's going to be here and it's whatever it was, I don't remember how, but when we put this 30,000 in, it was going to cost us less. And we ended up, this amount was, we ended up reducing the line for the regular substitute. So this is already like, sort of like partially offset when we created the budget. So, you could see that I'm in favor of keeping the building subs, whether you keep one in Mystic River and then you don't have one in, James River, so we could do like a full commitment to one school, and then next year, maybe we do the other. So we figure out which school has the more need, rather than just say half. You know what I mean? Because sometimes half doesn't work. It needs to be full investment, full investment. We saw that with the social worker trampling through town. You know, it's not fair to them. So, whatever we decide, but this number during the budget season was already offset somewhere along the line. I don't know if you guys remember that, but so.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did we, because theoretically, if we're reducing this, we should be increasing the substitute line
Correct.
by 20,000 or something like that. Because by reducing this, we're gonna be pushing that substitute number higher without increasing the budget accordingly. The per diem substitute line. Lori?
Just to give the board a little bit of context in the decision, right now, we currently staff substitutes have an average of 3 buildings, 6 buildings, subs per school. Depending on the size of the county to say that. So that's what we currently, this current staffing model allows for. Not including these.
Oh, so Mystic River may have 6 right now, and we're adding one, and then would be, and this was adding one more.
So just for everyone to know.
They were the biggest within the thing.
Yes, smaller elements. And obviously about basically much larger. Yeah, so.
I have to say though, with the Mary Morrison move, it allows us to take all the preschool classrooms out of there, pre-K. And that's about 5 classrooms of teachers, paraeducators. So that will remove like a subsection of that school that requires probably some of that, you know, that substitute line.
Which school is that?
That's Mystic River.
All right.
So
that's
there
fair.
is that piece that may spell relief next year, because he's not having to cover, you know, and preschools, like some of the programs, have more paraeducators because of the need of those girls. So
Just another quick follow-up question. Is, on any given day, do we have more than 6 people absent where a substitute would have to fill in?
Yes.
So the
Sometimes the
substitutes
principal is
are
filling.
used every single day, all of those building
Oh, yeah.
subs. And if they weren't there, we would have to have a daily sub to make that spot up.
I think that it's, so if this, if we, if the building sub is out, does that person get paid? That's question number 1.
Depends on the circumstance, but they do state statutes to this. But that is the only benefit they're getting, they're not paying.
Okay, so you have to pay that person and you have to pay a sub to sub for the sub. Yeah, I'm just.
Oh, we
They
do.
would have to put somebody in place to.
Well, yeah, but someone that they already have currently, right?
It depends. If all the buildings up for use, they have to follow.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I
there's
think we're doing subbing
a dozen days or something like that they get for sick days a year, or how many days do they get a year? So there might be 5 out of 181 days that we might have to pay double on.
That's
Per-
per sub, and based on the number of subs I just heard here, it sounds to me like there's maybe 20 or so, maybe even more from the whole system. I just be really conflicted about if we were to keep in all the building subs and the other tutors, now to 216,600. There's no way, unfortunately, we can keep all of them in this budget. So we need to make smart choices of what would keep them and what. I was really personally, I was hoping that came to 157,550.
Yeah.
So that we could just figure out, that would have been my recommendation, but unfortunately, it's higher than that.
All right. So the building subs they were gonna be a full reduction, and then the tutors, I'm thinking there was full and then half. So the way we're gonna do the tutors, we'll just do the full vote on eliminating the full position. If that doesn't win, we'll do a full vote again on eliminating half the position. That's the next line. I'm just saying that how we'll do it with all of those tutors, because
This is the map.
all right, so all right, let's start vote. Jay, you have a question?
Yeah, I do. I foresee this going on forever. I think we just need to take the cuts that we've been handed and vote. And then if we can find money in the insurance reserve to fund the things that we truly believe in, that we can do that at the meeting where we talk about the non-lapsing funds. I think this going line by line, so far we've saved what, 4,000 out of the 957,000.
Yeah, but some of these lines are big. Like when we get to the contingency, and we probably need to make a decision on the contingency.
So I feel, Jay, with the pace of this, yes.
I mean, that'd be
Yeah.
But maybe the in-between would be to bundle a vote on the two building subs, and then that seems like simpler, and then maybe or maybe not do that with a tutor.
Is there just two?
They're just two building subs.
All right, so let's vote on reducing the 1119 lines, both building subs. So all in favor of reducing those two, raise your hands. So got 1, 2. All right, so 2 in favor. Jay is 3. Andrea, are you in favor of reducing the building subs?
I have enough information, so I'll say yes, although I really am not.
All right, so
I am
4.
not. I am not in favor of that.
All right,
So I'm gonna say no.
all right, so this is so that's 3 in favor of removing, opposed to removing building subs. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and then Andrea was 5, so that's 3 to 5. So we're not going to be removing the building subs.
Can we do that in between, like we're doing for the tutor? And vote for, because eventually we could remove one of the building subs and not 2. That's like half. And my reasoning, huh?
If we need more money at the end, we can consider it.
Yeah, we just voted on it, so.
Well, but you said you said the approach for the tutors is
Yeah, because you can't have half a building sub, but you can have half a tutor.
we've got one
So
building sub.
let's go back on that one later on if we
Yeah,
need to,
fine,
but
fine.
because we did state the rules,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you were the one that wanted to put them together.
That's true. Yeah.
So.
That's good.
Correct.
Yeah.
So they're getting zeroed out.
Yeah.
All right, so now, all right, so we're gonna go to the Mystic River Middle School ELA tutor. So all in favor of that reduction?
This is the full reduction?
This is be the full reduction we'll vote on, and then if we don't reduce it, then we'll vote on the half of a reduction.
So the first one is a full and the second one's.
All right.
half.
Jay's got it.
Jay,
No, I was just voting.
all right, Jay is in favor of the reduction. Who else is in favor of that reduction, the full reduction of the bill of the Mystic River ELA tutor?
Line 1220, just to make sure.
Correct, yep.
All the 12 points, or are we bundling those as well?
No, we're just gonna do it one by one, hopefully quickly. All right, so we have 2 in favor. Jay, you were in favor, so that's 3. Andrea, are you in
No.
favor?
No,
All right, so that one, and then opposed. 2, 3, 4, 5. So that one, that reduction fails 3 to 5. So we're gonna zero that out.
Off the half off.
All right.
Adrian, it's Joan again.
Yeah.
I have this little window with little people in it. So I can't see who's raising their hand and I can't follow the vote.
All right. So in favor, so this is the full reduction of 39,150. Mike Whitney, Mitch Shinbrot, Jay Whiteloff were in favor of that reduction. And everyone else was opposed. Not to single you guys out, but all right. So now we're gonna vote for a 50% reduction on that number. So it would be,
19,570.
yeah, all right, 19,575. All right, so we're gonna change that to reducing half of the position at that school. All right, so all in favor of reducing half? All right. So in favor of a half reduction is Ian, Jen, Mike, myself, Mitch, Jay. All right, so we have 6 in favor of a half reduction. And then are you in favor of just reducing half?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah,
All right. Then Jay. So and then Sean's opposed. So that's so that we're gonna leave it, yeah, half of that number. Well, yeah. So all right, so that one passes as what you put it, 18,575 reduction. All right.
Adrian,
Yeah.
may I just make a quick statement? I am opposed to all of these reductions, but I'm trying to be a pragmatist. We do not have the money, and so we have to cut them all. We can come back and refund them if we find the money at a later time. I just don't want it to be interpreted that I'm actually against any of these things, but we've been handed a cut. We need to make the cut at this point. If we can find money to support some of these things in the future, that would be my hope. But at this point, we need to adjust the budget. It needs to be done so that Rita can enter it into the system before her deadline.
All right. I totally agree with that statement, Jay, and you probably better than certainly most of the board members understands the needs of the district and that this is, detrimental to our needs. So I appreciate that statement.
Is there any way, Clint, to get a scroll with that on the bottom of the screen? That disclaimer?
That these are all very difficult decisions. But you're right. We do need to reduce the number. So from now with the building subs, we're just going to switch it up and vote the half first, if that sounds better.
Not the substitute.
I mean the tutors. I'm sorry. I got to put my glasses on. All right. So now we're down to
Place to sit.
line number 8. Nope, not that one. Line number 9, 1220, Thames River math tutor. Let's vote. Yes would be to reduce that by a half of FTE, which would be that.
We can't bundle these 3 since they're all math tutors. That's hard to keep track of them.
Let's just do them individually really quick, hopefully. So all in favor of a reduction of half of that FTE?
We're doing half first now?
Yeah, I feel like it's just more likely to
Half for
go
all?
quickly.
No, just for.
Seems more efficient.
Yeah, all right, so half, so in favor of that, of half of a reduction, we have Jay, Andrea, Ian, Mike, myself, Mitch.
Did we vote on the full?
No,
We're doing just the half.
we're just gonna vote on the half, because it seems like it's not gonna.
Yeah, because I was. It doesn't.
We can vote on it next, but we'll just vote on the half. It sounds like we're gonna pass the half now. So myself and Sean, So that is what, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, not on
It's
this.
got both on
1, 2, 3,
6-2.
4, 5, 6 to 2. So that one, we're gonna do that one as a reduction of that half number.
Which one? Which-
That's Thames River.
This is the 1220 Thames River.
Yes.
Okay.
Two.
Good one.
All right, same thing with the Catherine Klonowski math tutor. All in favor of reducing that number by half of that, which would be 19,575. All right, so all in favor of that reduction? So in favor is Ian, Mike, myself, Sean, Jay, and Andrea. And opposed, Jen and Mitch. So that one, same. Let's just skip down to the last tutor, which is the Charles Barnum math tutor. So we'll vote again on half of that reduction. All in favor of half that reduction? Ian, Mike, myself, John.
It's a smaller school, but they have many fewer tutors. They have,
All right,
fewer hands to serve them.
so we're on that. Jay or Andrea, are you in favor of a half reduction on that one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am.
All right, so again,
I don't know if I put my hand. I'm
right.
pressing my hand, but there it is. Okay.
We
And I
got,
also,
we got you. So all of those tutors, they're all the same. Did we have all the same votes on all of them?
Yes.
All right, so we're reducing them all by half. Then what can we legitimately do with that group insurance number now?
we've got it automatically.
Wait.
Well, it automatically goes.
It automatically
Yeah.
adjusted as we did that?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
This one happens to be the exact same number.
That is great.
Yeah, see why you like the spreadsheets?
Yes. All right. All right, so do you want to,
Well, we had that though in the model that we did. On how to get to 800.
all right, so let's just do the personnel first, and then we'll get up to contingency if that's all right with everybody, because I feel like that's a different discussion. So clerical admin, this is 2540. This is a half of an FTE in the IT department. Is there any discussion on that one? Clint, do you want to weigh in?
Getting close to the mic. The IT department had a full-time FTE up until 3 years ago. The position was cut. I've requested a half put back in over the last 3 years, and it hasn't made it, so it was needed this year. And this person will provide triage support, inventory support, and so forth, getting more timely responses to staff professionals, so that they can get their jobs done if and when issues arise.
All right,
Can I ask a quick question?
yeah.
For Rita, can you show us our current tally? Where do we stand? How much more do we have to cut?
16,000. Yes.
Wait, thank you. As I said, it wasn't on visible here, but now it is.
How does that make sense? I don't get that.
Because
You've got all the ones we haven't voted though. Yeah.
I know, but we're now below the without.
That's removed, that's factoring and taking out. Yeah.
We kept the building subs in the budget, that's 60,000.
But that number that you just showed, I think Ian's asking about like a separate number that's
How much
what
more
we've
do we
approved
need to
thus far.
Oh, what we,
Yeah.
Well, let's just keep running through it. I don't think we need to get bogged down with that. Let's just. Mitch,
Well, this is an HR question. Relative to the people here, like the extra tutors and the building subs and all of that. to hire those people, what timeframe are you looking at realistically?
It would be for the service.
Okay, so okay, so then upon what happens here, you then would, I don't know how you do it, you advertise anywhere?
Oh, yeah. They work all summer.
Okay, and how successful are we on getting people to fill those spots?
All of our tutor and building self assistants are all. Yeah, they are.
What about teaching positions?
They're almost all.
Okay.
All right, let's keep rolling. All right, so let's talk about, all right, yeah, so we're gonna vote on that clerical admin if, so I think Clint, really needs this, but he's been surviving without it, just painfully, without that admin. Is that fair, Clint? All right, so all in favor of taking that reduction of 32,500, raise your hands. All right, so Ian, Jen, Mike, myself, John, Mitch are in favor of that reduction. Andrea and Jay,
No,
you're not in favor of that reduction?
no.
All right, and Jay?
No.
All right, so that it's 6-2 to take that reduction. Did you get all that, Joan?
Now,
All
I
right,
hope
so
you're keeping a record, Adrian.
I'm not with names, but
I was just about to
Folks that
send
are
you
online voted.
an email.
all right, so
So Jay and
Jay
Andrea.
are opposed. Everyone else was for that reduction.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right, and then so that's 2, and then certified teacher. This is a retirement or something? Can you explain this one, Susan?
There's a requirement that happened after the budget book reduction, the normal reduction I would have taken in the budget book. Had they come in earlier.
All right, so this is like an easy take it.
It's already done. It's already there.
All right.
Take it.
Take.
All right, so we'll vote on this one quickly.
The salary.
All in favor of taking a retirement that we don't need to fill?
Yeah.
Right, in favor. So Jay's in favor. Andrea, are you in favor of this one?
I am. I'm trying to raise my hand. There we.
All
I'm
right,
pressing
yeah,
the
no,
button.
that's fine, that's fine. All right,
Okay.
so this is 8-0, everyone's in favor. And now we're down to some supplies, sports. Let's go back up to the contingency line.
I have one more personnel idea that may or may not be workable.
Do you want to save that for the end, or do you want to talk about it now?
Well, I think,
I'll leave it on you.
yeah, I'll just ask, because it may not be workable, but that's what I'm asking. I believe we have at least one retirement of an elementary school principal. I know that Mr. Magnet School is going to have about 100 less students next year. I know it has 2 assistant principals, just like Thames River has 2 assistant principals. I was wondering if, and this is where it may not work, if one of the assistant principals in our elementary system could shift to acting or actual principal of one of the elementary schools, and that we reduce an elementary school assistant position without having to lay off anyone. So basically, we're filling an open spot at principal from our assistant principal pool, and then reducing an assistant principal position, which is probably, I don't know, but like at least probably around 100,000, I'd say.
Maybe more than that.
So is it possible to do it like that? Is my first question. And if you guys say no, then that's a quick.
So hang on, John, let's just get I'm gonna get an answer to this. Lori, can we do that?
I don't.
hire from within without
I think
including
we're too
without.
far along in this process. The teachers have all weighed in on what their expectation is from the principal. And I don't, none of the assistants really rose their hand to even apply for the job, so I don't think that's the best answer for running our schools. The elementary schools are really important. We want someone who matches with the staff and who is ready to be, you know, a principal.
Is the position, oh, it's advertised, right? Or no?
No, we've already started interviews. I mean, we're already going through the process. We've got interview teams. They've already started interviewing, so pull the rug out on that. It would devastate the staff.
Well, we still have to hire the principal.
And I have to
Changing
hire,
things
yeah.
for the assistant principal.
Yeah.
And the option is there an option for a half FTE as an assistant principal?
You know, they may have fewer preschools, but they have the ABA program. And one of those assistant principals is an expert, Sheer Sabo, at running that ABA, and she spends most of her time taking care of the needs of those kids. So it's not really like having, she does an amazing job with special ed. And, you know, I can't see that would rock their boat. And that is a school that has high need for Sean Phelps. And you need those administrators. They are working full throttle before school or late after school. I just don't think that's where I ever want to go.
All right, I'm gonna leave.
I heard a comment that made me laugh. About 100 less students at Mystic River Mountain School next year, is that correct?
We have the preschool students need to. So we have 3 classrooms, 4 classrooms.
But they're half and half class, so they're not really, they're gonna go to a place.
It's not
There's
just
something else the other instead of doing, moving additional people to Mary Morris and I. But are there any other changes to the school population that we weren't told about that just came out? First time I heard that was just now when Mike said, I wasn't aware of that.
that one, that is in the, I got those budget, we had presentations about Mary Morrison plan, and it's actually in the budget book, and that's where I got the numbers. So the current for Mystic River, it's 526 current, that's in our budget book, and the projected to go down to 435, and most of that is because of moving those classrooms over to Mary Morrison. So
But there were 3 or 4 classrooms, right?
I think it's 5.
Yeah, that's the ABA
So
classroom.
the plan was always have the 4-year-olds, the preschools, the 4-year school programs to move to Mary Morrison. And we chose the classrooms at Mystic River to move first because it's a very busy building with the 5 ABA classrooms. Next year, so next year, Thames River will host 3 classrooms for preschool for 3 grades. And if everything goes according to plan, they'll move over to Mary Morrison following. Potentially, you know, we're planning for an expansion of that program too. So although Mr. River will lose those preschool classrooms, they really spend a lot of time working with parents and families in PBT meetings and 504 meetings, because all of those students in those autism classrooms have an IEP. And they have to be at least once per year, but often it's more than that. So Mrs. Sabo really coordinates that, as well as the coverage, you know, the day-to-day exhibit program. Mr. Vitale really focuses on curriculum and discipline. And then Mr. Wheeler obviously does everything. So if we were to move in Sabo, it would fall Mr. Vitale away from curriculum supervision and coordination and discipline.
As you know, my wife worked in the system a long time, right? And so I'm sorry, so what, there's not a change in the overall population of students or any significant change in the system overall. You were just, okay, I thought we were losing kids. You know, we're not.
No, they're just
Moving.
moving.
They're just going, and we are,
Are we losing any kids?
So, yeah, there, but that school is losing 96 children, to a different school, to going to Mary Morrison. So I guess going back to what we just talked about with Mary Morrison, as far as admin in that building, so that would be something new. Are we, I see we have a 0.6 on a teacher leader. Is that right? Is that teacher? I can't read my own writing.
Throughout the year, she's a special ed supervisor for early childhood, and she's been with us for many of the presentations. She will go over to Mary Morrison and be the building, administrator. But she does have some other duties in terms of special education supervisor. So we have a teacher leader who will not assume any evaluatory duties in terms of teachers. The teacher leader will be there when Ms. Hyatt is not, to, deal with crisis intervention, deal with phone calls from parents, help with sub coverage, things of that nature.
It'll be a teacher who's in 092. It's a way that we can grow our teacher leadership and give them opportunities to do some of the work of administration, so that when a opening comes up, they might be able to do that.
And that position is funded in the start.
Okay. So what you said, so what did you say the teacher's name was? Well, I won't use the name. Yeah, so what building is she in right now?
She's here.
But
All
she
right.
does
And
spend
she
time
works
at
in the-
Mary Morrison.
She works, like we all do out in school.
All right, so we're just shifting her in the district. So we're not really losing anything
Not
with
as
her
much
shift.
No.
All right, that's kind of where I was going with this whole thing, so. Jen,
For Monday, we have 10 rooms. This is just, maybe I heard it wrong. So we have 10 rooms right now, right? And we're gonna fill those 10 rooms. We just stated that next week, one, move 3 more rooms in there. There's the class, do we have enough classroom space to be additional room, assuming we don't get them? So how many rooms are there in that building? Because right?
so, Jen, so we're talking about, she's talking about FY 28, and I don't really want to get too far off of it. We're talking about building principal right now.
No, I know, but
So-
it needs, that's why I said for Monday, it needs to answer
Yeah.
like.
But
how
that's
we're
Monday's
gonna-
meeting. We're talking about the budget for FY. So I understand what you're saying. It's just not what we're talking about.
But I hear your
it-
message. We can answer
it
that on
needs a
Monday.
different, it's okay, yes, we'll talk about.
Yeah, I want
it.
to talk about where we can reduce, and Mike had talked about, can we reduce assistant principal? So Mike, do you want to propose that to vote on it, or do you want to, I'll leave it to you to?
No, I think that firmly says it's too late in the game if the position's been advertised and you're interviewing.
All right,
No, we have shares, but if we have back and forth.
yeah.
Is that really the case? Yes, you've gone far along, okay? Company I used to work for wouldn't think twice about doing something like that. Okay, is that a law?
I have to put the best person in the position as principal to run that school. And Catherine Polnowski has been a district school that has really made a lot of progress, but they've had significant needs too. They were our first Title I school. So I'm not just going to pluck someone from in-house to do that job, then they might not be prepared. I want to get the most reliable, the best, highest quality, because those leaders, if we've got a high quality leader in our district, which I feel like we do in every building, then they help support and help our kids make things. They are the ones who really actualize that student performance with the teachers.
So,
I did not get an answer to my question.
so if you want to reduce an assistant principal, we can vote on that. But we will be letting somebody go to do that. I think that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to propose that, we can vote on it.
But then where would you pick them? Yeah.
Actually, I think what we're also talking about is taking someone who's inexperienced and has not on school. They're assistant principals, but it's a completely different job, different expectations, different expertise. So if we do that, I would caution that it will have an impact on the student.
Yeah, well, certainly we need the strongest candidates, whether they're in district or not, to fill especially that position. So you understand where I'm going? We're like, we have to either eliminate a position or not. And then we can do it if the board agrees with that.
I'm the only person I think in this room who would say yes to that. I don't think anyone else here would do it.
I have a feeling it would be a tough vote.
Yeah, so I'm not even gonna bother wasting our time.
All right.
Any further discussion.
All right, so we'll leave that one alone. Let's talk about contingency. As I see it, maybe we can do, I didn't see the B option, but we can vote on the full and then maybe a half of that. And then, so we can vote on taking the full contingency out and then maybe vote on, because it's such a big number, I think it's fair to vote on half of the contingency. So removing what is that, 117.5 or something, rather than 235, and then take, or then, yeah, so either eliminate the whole thing, eliminate half, or not eliminate it all and leave it as it is. Does that sound fair to everybody? So we'll vote on the full reduction of 235,000 on the contingency. You know where we are, Andrea?
To hear what you're saying, I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right, so we're specifically talking about, we had an executive session talking about negotiations in a certain group, and we had added some money for that negotiation. So the way I was going to do this vote is we can totally zero out that number and not do anything on that negotiation. Then we can vote on a 50%, really do half of what we wanted to do. So those are the two votes. So that was the way I was going to talk about that.
Yeah, I don't know where I am with that. I'm thinking about it. I don't know where I am with that. I like Jay's idea of just not doing anything until we find other monies, but we didn't do that.
Do you want to, should we wait on this one, Jay? What's your thought?
I have an idea. I have an idea on where we can actually get this money, but I think Beverly would have to consult with Floyd. I think we need to make these big cuts to get our budget in compliance with what the town is going to fund us. And then we go back and determine if we can afford it using other funds. And there is one that's kind of up in the air, and I'd like to have Bev address it with Floyd.
All right. So for tonight's purposes, all right. So all in favor of accepting the superintendent's proposed $235,000 reduction on this line item. Everyone that's in favor of that, raise your hand.
And that zeroes it out, right?
And this would zero it out. So in favor, we have Jen, Ian, Mike, Sean, Jay, and Andrea. So is that 6? Should I crowd? All right. To take the full reduction. All right, so that's 5 in favor of, opposed to that reduction. So 1, 2 opposed to that reduction. So that's Mitch and myself, Joan, are opposed to that reduction. Andrea, do you want to abstain or do you want to?
No, I voted, I think I voted yes.
You voted for the reduction?
I believe I did.
All right, so we're going to take that full reduction. It's a 6-0. Well, we just voted to take the full thing.
We can come
And
back.
I think Jay said we can come back and.
Although I was gonna
There might
do
be
it.
another pathway.
I was gonna, all right,
So when we're running a meeting, okay, and we're trying to get votes, you need to do it as neutral as possible, not try to be against it. Okay? And time,
am I trying to sway?
no, it's just the way it's being conducted. It's not very similar to. It's very.
Well, I think we said we were gonna do the full thing. If that didn't pass, we're gonna do half of it.
I'm just saying. So like, trying to force, it's okay. But I just want to make sure that it's as neutral as possible.
All right. All right, so the next item is supplies from site budgets. So 1101, that's elementary school, correct?
I just put a function there, but it's gonna be awesome.
So
10%.
Yeah, 10%.
it's a 10% reduction.
With the XXX. we did.
I'll is there any discussion on this one? Yeah, go ahead,
I
Ian.
think it's a fair approach. 10% across the board. I'm in favor of.
All right,
or not.
let's just, all right, so voting in favor of that $58,000 reduction evenly, more or less across the site budgets. So, all in favor? Okay, Andrea? All right, so that's 8 in favor of that. Eight to 0. Did you get which one that is, Joan? That was
Supplies is 8
line item
0.
16. Yeah, 8 in favor of that reduction on line item 16.
Thank you.
All right. Next one is $5,000 reduction on Groton Middle School sports. All in favor of that reduction?
And
So-
that's not just sports, it's sports and activities, right? Like that's the same, like it's student clubs too. Right? If sports isn't separate.
And we did the expanding, we looked at the sport. The student club was just one function inside that 1,500,
Oh, so these would be taken from these sports.
with even supplies,
Okay.
the 300s through the 800s, which is like other professional services, and supplies.
All right, so all in favor of reduction. So Andrea, Jay, Ian, Jen, Mike, and Mitch are in favor of that reduction of $5,000. Opposed to that reduction? I'm opposed to that reduction, and Sean's opposed to that reduction. So that reduction passes 6-2 with a $5,000 reduction. All right, now $10,000 from sports at Fitch. All in favor of that reduction? Raise your hands. So Ian, Jen, Mike, myself, Mitch, Andrea, and Jay are in favor of that reduction. Opposed to the reduction? Sean is opposed, so that one's 7-1. Conference travel, $10,800 reduction. This is, I assume, admin and teachers traveling to conferences. All right, so all in favor of that reduction, raise your hand. So, all right, so everyone's in favor of that reduction, 8-0. General classroom supplies and instructional improvement services. All right, so this one, these two lines, we can talk about them separate. Maybe we should vote on, I don't know if we should vote on separately, but what the superintendent's proposing here is to use $300,000 of that 500,000 additional to pay for these programs. And these are new math and ELA programs, just like we put 300,000 to get Wit and Wisdom started a couple of years ago. This would be to, this would be to take 300 of that $500,000, bonus that we got, we'll call it, to kind of fill the budget. But since these are kind of one-time purchases where they won't be coming up again in 5 years. I think it's more like 10 or something that we change programs on a major scale.
Why are they separate? I don't get that one.
I don't know why either.
I think
Get a different line.
Oh, in the budget, because one was math, right? And then one was ELA.
2012 is the PD.
PD.
For that.
Oh, it was professional development for the new programs. All right.
Is that one, is the PD just for the math or is it for the reading? Because I thought we had the I read.
It's really what is now.
That's what I thought.
the PD I thought was built in. Yes. Yeah.
Right.
So, so with this, if no one has an objection, I think we should just vote on both of these together, and maybe we should vote on that 50% option. Is that, what do people think about that?
Do we vote on the 50% option first? Or we're not approving it?
Where we are.
I just want to let you know we have to find, if these two get approved, we still have to find 16,000 bucks.
Yeah, let's go back.
We have to go back to the.
And if they're only half, then we have to find much more.
Right. So if you reduce to half, then, so right now, when we have 700.
Yeah.
With 7 moving.
There is, we could talk about pulling a little bit out of, because we don't have a line in here for doing anything with employee benefits. And that, I'm not proposing that we necessarily do, but we could put a line item and just take a little bit out of benefits to find the balance in the end if we wanted. Like,
Yeah, so I have a kind of a procedural point here. As listed, you see the explanation, new math curriculum moved to state non-lapsing, and the other one says move to state non-lapsing. At this point, there's special meeting, we can really only vote to approve a reduction, right? We can't approve to move it to the non-lapsing fund at this point because we're not talking about the non-lapsing fund right now. And and so if we approve these reductions, in my view, we're putting the new math curriculum and the new ELA curriculum at risk because this is more than half of what we get to use, and there are other needs like that we could consider when we then talk about the 500K, which is not on the table. So I hope when we vote, we're just voting for reduction, and please recognize that that puts them potentially at risk.
yeah, that's a fair, it's a,
Have we
fair
signed the
assessment.
contract yet? Okay, so we need to find a way to fund it. Wait, have we? I didn't hear that.
I don't know. Is it fun?
They sign contract.
It would still need our teachers to make good progress.
yeah, I think
I didn't ask because
everyone agrees that these are vitally necessary. And then, Jay, question or comment?
Yeah, I agree with Mike. We obviously can't vote on using the non-lapsing, but we do need to make this reduction to match what the town has given us. And I think it is perfect to use this one-time grant from the state for a one-time curriculum upgrade. And even though we're not voting on that, I think we can agree in principle that's where the money is going to come from, and therefore it's not going to slip through the cracks. No one's going to forget when it comes to the 500. If we don't take this, then we're going to have to decide where are we going to get that money tonight. We can't drag this on until the last minute because Rita does need to implement a budget.
Jen?
I'm like, once again, we are gonna take the easy way out and say, take it, like, let's reduce it from here and use it for the state 500,000 that we're receiving. If we never receive that 500,000, forget it even exists right now and just discuss it, right? Like, what would we have reduced?
Ian?
Well, thank Jen for that great question. I agree, that's good. Way to analyze the situation.
Well, we can reduce more positions, or we can pull something out of health insurance, or we can ask Susan if she's got any other ideas that aren't on the, she's got any other ideas for efficiencies.
We have really worked very hard this whole team and sitting on the table, trying to find things that will continue our mission, the board's first goal and our strategic goal of accelerating learning and increasing student performance.
And I want to keep it in the budget. I know we have that funds, right? I want to keep it in the budget and leave it in there, right? Because that's important. We made a commitment to that during the budget season. We made a commitment to a lot of things, but this was first and foremost because it hadn't been looked at for over 10 years. We're making an improvement. It's setting out the foundations for our children moving from elementary to middle school on them. So if we take it out, we can easily add it on the other side. That's an easy out. But if we don't have that money, like how would we have thought about this? Because we know as a board, we would have this.
But we do have that money. And we also have the ability to do some of the health savings. So we have a couple different scenarios that could take care of it if we remove it from the operation. So,
Essentially, with the vote is going to be, the reasoning is going to be the supplies, the classroom supplies, but the vote is going to be to use 300,000 from that to build a budget. From that non-lapsing to make up the budget.
If I'm saying this is correctly, the answer to Jen's question would be, then if the 500,000 did not exist, we'd be looking at areas such as the health insurance.
but we're fortunate that we do have that money. And this is a one-time thing. It's one of the top things on the list, I think, to make sure, yeah, one way or the other.
No, I mean, that's moving us up against the wall.
We are. Yeah.
I'm confused, because I thought we weren't talking about the half a million, but yet when I see the state non-lapsing, we are talking about that. So
My discussion with Bev was that we were only going to talk about that as it refers to using some of that for this budget tonight. We're not going to talk about, like, we met with the teachers and the teachers gave us some ideas of where they would like to have the money spent. So I think there's going to be lots of ideas when we've had time to think about it on where to spend that money. What I didn't want to do is have that discussion right now, because it's going to confuse this. The discussion right now is if we're just going to reduce that amount for future discussion by 300,000, by 150,000, by whatever. So we're just talking about reducing.
but it says here state non-lapse, so that really.
Correct. So we're going to use the state non-lapsing to plug the budget. To plug the hole in the budget.
But we can't vote on that part tonight.
Why not?
It's not in our, it's a special meeting, that's not our problem.
We can't vote to,
We can reduce 300,000, but we can't like restore it yet.
It says discussion and possible action regarding the FY 27 budget. Right?
so
That's pretty broad.
It is, Bob.
I think that at least this is, I don't see that. I mean, do we have it in our non-lapsing now? When does that money come to our non-lapsing, the 500,000?
I believe the 500,000.
Correct. So, but this is for the next year's budget.
Yeah, so
So-
we're gonna have it.
Well, I mean, I don't know, so let's talk about the whole 500,000. I mean, we're talking about 300,000 of it.
Yeah.
No, as it pertains to the investments.
So as it can pertain to the adjustment for the budget.
That's artificial, but I guess what I'll suggest something different. We take the 300,000 from, the health insurance, what would that do? I know we talked about it, but can we, like, will we take it from the active fund? The OPEB sounds like no for the OPEB, but like, what happens if we take the 300K specifically from the DOE active fund? I know we talked about it again, but explain
We
it that way.
come from the fund, we would just not fund 300,000.
So we would reduce 300,000, reduce that line item by 300,000.
And so what happens to that fund if we did that?
It doesn't go up another $300,000 next year. It might go up, yeah.
Instead of contributing what we said we were gonna contribute from the budget, we were down to
Can I just expand on that? What would happen is the budget is built on the healthcare spending projection. So if we reduce that spend, contribution by 300,000, if claims come in as anticipated, the fund, the health insurance fund would have to supplement that 300,000.
Right.
the reserve.
Yeah, it was a.
And these numbers though now are better than what we were looking at back in February, right?
Yeah, it was 4.5.
And so it's like kind of like 300 or plus.
Yeah.
That-
There's
Right.
2 more months to go.
Yes.
Better.
All right, Jay, you got a question, comment?
Yeah, Rita, how many more payments are still due in the current year?
We made all our payments, but it's not reflected on the town's report. The town's only due April 30th. So we've already put in another, I believe, $1.5 million on our side, and I can't say for the employee side because I don't know those numbers off the top of my head, because we every time we have a payroll, we cut a check to the town. You know, when we take out health insurance, and that's once a month. So for
But you haven't made, I'm sorry.
for May and June is not included in these numbers, the contributions that we've sent down to the town.
And so you've made the June
Yeah.
board's contribution already? Okay. All right, thank you.
One thing to think about, if we reduce, if we leave this in. We can't use the 500,000 for insurance or anything like that, it needs to be at one time. That's the stipulation, so that's something just to be aware of.
No,
That's still one
there's
time.
there's no stipulation.
They got to relax a lot.
They got rid of, we can do whatever, it goes into the non-lapsing fund. We
So
can use
we
it,
could put it into the insurance, we could put part of it into the insurance. If we decide.
if we decided that
Yeah.
later.
$300,000 now, cover the curriculum, the new curriculum, we could essentially put some or all of that back with this.
Right.
Non-mapping fund to do so. Okay, I'm good with that,
Then like,
because I think Jen made a great point that this was a priority
Yeah.
of the school district and the budget that we aligned on. And we agreed to need these.
Jay, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I would recommend that we just make the cut tonight. And then when we have better numbers on the insurance reserve and any other sources of funding, we can decide how that'll get paid for. I think tonight, the priority is to align the budget.
So we could, can you scroll down a little bit, Rita? My thought here is to put in a vote on 316,825 reduction from the health insurance reserve. Is that kind of what you're saying? And then,
Well, my idea was just to make the cuts we need to make to balance the budget. And then once we get a better analysis that includes the transfers that are apparently in transit, along with the true up of OPEB to know what we have to contribute to that trust, then we can make an intelligent decision on how much of the insurance reserve can be used. I just don't think we have that information tonight. And so I would just say let's balance the budget. And then once we have firm numbers, we can decide what we're going to fund and how we're going to fund it.
So you're saying vote on what we've got on the board right now? These
Right,
last
just
two
vote.
items?
Yeah, just vote on the reduction so that the budget is balanced, and Rita can enter it into the system. And then once we have all the true ups, we can go in and say, this is where, the money can come from. We all agree that this is a priority. Nobody is saying that by cutting this, that we're not going to have a curriculum. However, I just don't feel we have complete enough information about the OPEB and the insurance reserve. In theory, I say we use it, but we can't just blindly use it. We have to have, the numbers, and we can get that from the town and from the consultant.
All right. So, but effectively, if we vote on these reductions, without voting that we're going to use the non-lapsing, then Anne Marie is not going to be able to order these programs, and we are not going to be ready for next year. Is that correct, Anne Marie?
At least July 1st earliest, obviously doesn't have a thing until the new budget is in place. So, a little bit of time. I don't know once we get the orders in how long it takes to do it, and there will be some time for that. I'm not, everything right now is obviously on the.
All right, Mitch, and then Mike.
Okay, I happen to agree with what Jay said. I did notice something here. There were 18 line items on this list. Only the last two are the only ones that offered a move to another place to take the money from. It wasn't anything put in for any of the others. And it almost seems as though that's not fair. Okay, I don't even know why we're talking about it. So I agree with Jay. Take the words move to non-lapsing out. But what he said, we all do agree it's important. I'm on the committee with the curriculum committee, and I voted for this. And we'll find a way to do it, but we can't address where it's going to come from right now. Unless we're going to open up all the other items to do the same thing.
I would say that everybody was committing to this, and I not that I have to vote, but just understand what you're saying.
I'm just up, right?
Mike.
Thanks. So I was wondering, in the budget as we went through, what were our contributions going to be to the health insurance? What is that number? It must be millions.
Millions, like 12 million. It's over 10 million.
Yeah, so I mean, if we reduce that by $316,825, that's what percent is that? Is it 12 million? Do you know? Is it like?
I don't know the exact number because the benefits line includes a lot of things.
So that's say, I'll just rough it out at somewhere between a 2 to 3% reduction in our contribution. And I hear what Jay's saying. I love certainty, but I also know that at times when decisions need to be made, we make it on the information possible. It's just like when we went for the budget the first time, we had not as much information we do now, and we went forward, right? And so here we are with the best information available, but plus right now when we have to make this decision. And for me, I'm willing to, say like I take a 2 or 3% reduction. We took a 10% reduction with certainty from site budgets. I mean, so yeah, I'm willing to do that. And so I rather than put even in a little peril, the new math curriculum and the ELA curriculum, the 200K and the 100K. So I'm fine with whatever order you want. And so if you want to, I can move a number now for that, or just wait until see what's the fate of these other two. I'm fine either.
In the budget book, our contribution to the active is 9.2, and there's $1 million for OPEB. I was including the employee side too. Okay, so in the budget book, we budgeted 9.2 for health insurance contribution.
So reducing by 316,825 by 9.
So,
Yeah, so it's, yeah, 3.5. And I'm still comfortable with that myself.
so, all right, Ian, then I'm gonna go then, John.
I was gonna say, Mitch's analysis is, fair. Deep of way it's set up here is with having that attached language. So we're gonna take Jay's approach, we take the language out and just focus on the production.
And then at a later date, you go back and see.
Right. But however, my concern with that is, that does that make the line items here from the budget altogether? And so for that end, I share Mike's interest in assigning, if this was legitimate enough to make it into a meeting as it stands now, we could make a motion to reassign where that money comes from.
Which are you talking about?
So we could vote to not take the 200,000 and not take the 100,000 reductions, and then introduce a new item to the line and say, we want to take a reduction in our contribution to the health employee. So.
And we still have, I was gonna say the same thing, and we still have the $500,000
Right.
protected.
Right.
Which we could use to backstop health insurance if we need to, because we can use that for anything. Correct, and then, so this way, we can move forward with the curriculums. We can reduce, and then we can add back if we need to. Jay?
316.
Yeah, just make it.
And then we might as well make it the 316, whatever, 825.
I think that's logical.
Jay, did you have another comment on that?
Yeah, I'm sorry to beat a dead horse, but I think we can have an analysis pretty quick. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rita or Lori. Do we have the actuarial report that directs us how much is due into OPEB? That should have been issued by now.
Yeah, can I respond to it, Lori? I just want to mention, we won't have a true analysis until almost September, because we don't have May and June claims. Because of the lag time, we won't have a report from the town with our planned year expenses fully realized until late August. Yeah, Rita?
I mean, I think the plan is good. Because not having a match work in the July 1st budget prevents us from more than.
Right.
So, yeah. And don't think that's the now within that.
Plus we have the non-lapsing funds that we
We're gonna
can,
have
the board can
500.
decide.
Right.
Once
We
you
can
decide.
decide
That gives us some.
if you want to put it back.
So to that end, I'd like to make a motion.
So let's have, Jen's had her hand up for a long time, and I kind of bypassed her when I asked Jay's opinion, so.
Like, another option is, right, like, we always have staff turnover, right? Like, I don't know, Rita, how much you consider redundancy, right? So there's an option there. So if we don't want to take it out of OPEB and health benefits, we could put in a line item on the salary line itself to say that we're committing that salary. So I'm going to come in X, Y, and Z under. So we're not touching OPEB or health. We're actually going to put it on the salary line with the assumption that our attrition rate is going to be higher than the amount that we had originally planned. It's awful, but it's the only way to like put a line in there and hold us to keeping salary at a certain point, and then that salary and the benefits associated with that. That's another option. I don't know how much you put in for redundancy, like
I'm not a
what.
fan. Because that means I have to put a negative budget. Because where do I put it? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah,
I feel like with the openings, I feel like you have considered attrition in many of the vacant positions we put in. We already took a reduction of figuring in attrition. And with all the retirements, that's figuring in attrition. Yeah, because we're thinking we're gonna hire less at a lesser salary.
So it's almost like, right, when you build in redundancy, it comes in at a rate, like you could easily say, I built in a 10% redundancy, I built in a 12% redundancy. So I'm not saying, I'm just saying that's another option so that we don't touch health and benefits. But when I was talking about the health and benefits earlier, right, like based on your example, we had 4.8 million. You said that we at least need 300. For the OPEB line, there was a shortfall of like 800,000 or 900,000, and if we put 20% on that, the max I remember saying is like 0.8. But if we do 0.3 to 0.8, there we can do that. The only thing is what's the experience going to be in the next couple of days. So, like if we vote this way, and if our experience in the next 2 months come in higher, we need to reevaluate, but we should never put our core priorities in jeopardy. So I'm okay with Mike's 316 because we do have flexibility in the
The
numbers.
attrition and taking from health insurance is kind of the same thing, because
Yes.
if we have attrition, our claims are gonna be less. Right?
We never want the attrition, you know what I mean? That means poor
All
marriage.
right.
Oh, no, but-
Lori, let's keep this rolling. Lori,
So I just want to mention a couple things. I would not recommend we put our contractual obligations at this. There's no way we can justify that. And then the other thing is that we've already taken those adjustments for attrition and not certified staff. We know that we've taken them, we propose the additional ones here. When you talk about all the non-certified staff, we hire a lot of that staff at the same rate above the rate. The staff that turn over at the institute, so there really won't be any savings for this thing. And our staffing levels improved significantly this current year. So we staffed all of our areas at literally 100% or close to it. And our professionals, we were down to about a 10% vacancy rate.
That's
So-
since before COVID.
Yeah, we haven't seen the staffing level. So I just would not feel comfortable saying, oh, we're gonna have all these vacancies. They may see a lot of vacancies because of attrition, but we immediately fill those jobs. And then the other thing is when you talk about non-certified staff, a fair number of those are educated, and I would not want to reduce what we allocate to them because we have the responsibility. I think we talked about that during the budget process, but we really we have to make sure we budget for all of those jobs. So I just wanted to give a little context.
I want to get this, but so that when this got started with a different governmental body, it was almost all paraprofessionals. There was a few certified staff and principals in there. because I went and looked at the listings. They were all positions for September, which we are going to fill. So this was all like a hollow, whatever. It wasn't real savings because, and I don't think that the other bodies understood that when we don't fill paraprofessional positions, we just have to fill them with substitutes, which cost more. So all of that talk that there's somehow $2 million in the budget, there's nothing behind that. There wasn't understanding behind that. And it's unfortunate that it just kept getting perpetuated. But my feeling is that we have salaries figured out. We've been paying them every year since the school system started. I just don't think it's there. So now, Mike.
Thanks. I move that we take a $316,825 reduction to our health insurance contribution.
Second.
All right, so we're gonna vote on that next. What was it?
$316,825
from healthcare.
You repeat that number again, please?
$316,825.
It's on the screen now, John.
Okay, and who was the one who seconded it? I didn't catch the voice.
Ian Thomas.
Thank you.
And my rationale is that would get us to the 800,000.
Correct.
Many
And
ways to get to 800.
that will, yeah, so, all right, so, any more discussion on that motion? Ian,
I'm in support of it, and this would preclude the need to take the other reductions.
correct, it would allow us to,
Purchase and free Anne Marie to go forward.
This is the best plan. Thank you. Appreciate that.
all right. Any more discussion? All right, so all in favor of taking that 316,825 reduction from health savings, health care? So in favor of this, Joan, is Ian, Jen, Mike, myself, John, Mitch, Jay, and Andrea. So all in favor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just. I
All
think
right,
we
yeah.
should vote on that.
Yeah, I was done. All right. All right, so
So can we bundle the 200,000?
yeah, let's vote to remove
300, move the move.
the classroom supplies and instructional movement. All right, so all in favor of another $300,000 reduction for those two line items, supplies and instructional improvement. All in favor of that reduction?
Wait, reduction.
Running it the same way as we've been running all the other ones. So this would be taking 300,000 more than we need to take. So,
No, yes.
so in favor of an additional $300,000 reduction from the budget.
So just to be clear, if you vote yes on this, you're voting to continue to eliminate the curriculum from the budget.
Yeah.
And reduce our
So-
budget to below what was been approved by the town, by
Right.
300,000.
By 300,000. So we've been voting whether it's like
Effectively,
Yes,
what we
yes
just
was
voted
to-
on was to not do this.
to reduce.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
to
the-
remove it from this sheet.
No.
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 A yes.
Every other
would
vote
reduce
we
it.
had, your notes here even say,
Yes is to remove it.
yes, is to remove to.
Remove-
Sorry, not the reduction.
Remove it to the budget, leave it as it is on the sheet.
Remove it as a
It
reduction.
needs to remove it.
No, the yes is to remove, to reduce the budget by 300K.
No.
Yeah, that's the way every other vote
Yeah.
tonight has been.
So,
Okay.
All right,
you
so.
want to be done? Vote no.
Don't say remove from the budget.
Yes, it would.
Yes.
Right now, our budget is balanced. It's zeroed out.
Yeah, but she removed it. She removed it
I know
from the
you guys are gonna
spreadsheet.
vote no.
It's keep,
She's assuming.
She's assuming a no vote.
okay.
But we're gonna vote it as removing an additional 300,000 from the budget for these two programs. So is there anyone in favor of removing more money than we need to from the budget?
No.
So Andrea, do you know what we're voting on here?
I think so. Yes, yes.
So this would, we already voted on the health savings, which basically made it so we don't need to do this anymore. So that's why everyone else is voting for no. All right, so is there anyone in favor of this reduction? All right, and anyone opposed to this reduction? So we have everyone in the room, and then Jay is opposed to it, and then Andrea, are you opposed to the reduction? So basically keeping those two programs?
Keeping the curriculum.
Yes.
All right. So it's 0 to 8 on those, that we are going to keep those and line item out those. All right.
Adrian,
So, yes,
just so I'm clear, that vote was for the general classroom supplies and the instructional improvement services?
correct, yes.
Thank you.
All right, so now I think what we should do is one vote on the full adjusted, on all the adjustments that have been made tonight. A screenshot of this, which Rita will send to everyone.
David.
That would take move off. Take that move stuff off.
So,
Yeah. I know.
yeah, it's all zeroed out. So, yeah, so this is what we're, all right, so all in favor of accepting the budget reductions as detailed in the FY 27 BOE budget cuts spreadsheet at 8:58 PM as it appears on the screen. So all in favor of this, these adjustments made tonight, raise your hand. All right. So, all right, we have, all right. 7, Mitch, are you not in favor?
Purposely not raised.
All right, so we have 7 in favor. Are you against or are you abstaining?
Against.
All right, so we have 7 to 1 on this, with Mitch abstaining. With Mitch being a no. All right, I think with that, we've reached the end of the, Andrea, what's that? Andrea,
Yes.
we have something.
Yes. Is it time?
It's
Yeah,
fine.
It's time.
Oh, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, so second by Mitch. All right, we're adjourned.